First up is In a Violent Nature. Here's the thing. All three of us have seen this movie. And the plot synopsis is, again, I think it's giving up a little bit too... Bruce, I'm looking at the plot synopsis. It's weird. Okay, when a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hellbent on retrieving it. That is a premise. So there is a locket that's removed. There is someone who comes out. The rotting corpse of Johnny comes out from the ground. And it's a 60-year-old crime.
I believe you meant to say Jason.
Right. Right, exactly. And look, there's some young, nubile teens, maybe early 20-somethings. Maybe I would say early 20-somethings. They're out having fun in the woods. Unfortunately, what's the name? Johnny, Eric?
No, it's Jason Voorhees. The name you're looking for.
Come on.
Johnny Voorhees.
Oh, Bruce, here you are piling on. Anyways, Johnny is actually looking for Locket, but before he gets to Locket, he's going to track down these nubile, wonderful friends and youths, and one by one, I think their time on this earth won't be too long. Let's just say that. And let's just say also In a Violent Nature is violent, it's gory, it will appeal to a certain section. Maybe horror genre fans might dig this movie, or whether they or not they dig it, it is catered to them.
They're going to be pretty well split.
Well split. Okay. Well, speaking of well split, there's a lot of things that are split here as far as
nice.
Anatomically. Yeah. Well, some may say nice, but others will say bloody, and they might feel like, might feel like convulsing. I don't know. It's written and directed by Chris Nash. I have my own thoughts on In a Violent Nature. Let's get to the experts on this genre first. Bruce Purkey.
Yeah, so this is obviously based on the template of slasher movies. And first of all, context, I'm not a huge slasher fan. I like them well enough, and a great slasher film can be fun. And some of them are fun just because they're so cheesy too.
Can you name a great slasher film that you specifically...
Well, I mean, I'm going to try to stay away from like revisionist ones. I'm going to try to like stick with classic slasher movies, but I really like Bay of Blood. I really like the original My Bloody Valentine a lot. And some of the Friday the 13th ones are pretty fun. I'm not going to include things like Scream and some of those because they're all like kind of like upending the genre a little bit. But definitely Scream would be in there if I'm adding that to the list.
But you're talking about the pure ones, like you said, like
the pure classic era, slasher movies, which this is obviously paying homage to. This does a couple things. So it's getting a ton of press because of the point of view, because it's mostly kind of an over-the-shoulder, almost video game following the character style movie. So instead of the classic slasher thing is right. It's like a bunch of kids, whatever. So here, pick the setting, pick the villain. They're all at some setting and slowly getting picked off. And you get a lot of jump scares. So you never know when the killer is going to jump out and get them, and how are they going to get killed is half of the fun, so on and so forth. That's kind of how it works. This is like, what if you were following the killer instead? And there's a couple problems with that for me with this movie. One, the question is kind of being answered here, right? Like, between those killings in the Friday the 13th movies, what is Jason doing? It's like, well, apparently nothing. He's just walking around. He doesn't do anything between those killings. Bruce,
walking is something. It's healthy for us. Sure. And my big
unless you're undead and you don't need anything to keep you going. So
you don't keep that kind of bulk without exercise, Bruce.
Yeah,
it would be a plot.
And then Eric, I'm going to defend Bruce in a second, because my problem is Johnny should be built like Gumby, because he does so much walking.
But go on.
I'm sorry, Eric Holmes. Shouldn't he be like Gumby with all, right? I mean, he's walking so much. He should be sweating. He should be like very
sweating gravy or something. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, for me. Well, first of all, it's kind of a trope in these movies to have really bland, uninteresting characters that are all going to die. But these are definitely on the low level of that, even of uninteresting characters. There is no final girl. I mean, there may be a final girl, but there is no final girl, because there's no one we actually even pick out until the end of the movie to be a final girl. They just become a final girl.
That's fair. That's fair.
I have a take on that. And
okay.
That's what I thought was kind of brilliant about this.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
So it does all the things. He finds him finding his mask and picking up his weapons. I would say there's one killing that's going to get tons of press, and it's pretty cool. The director, I think, got a start as a special effects person, partially working, I think, on Psycho Gorman. So you can see it in a couple scenes where they actually have some pretty neat practical effects. Not enough for me to carry this movie.
Was the aspect ratio weird? Was it boxy? Did it have a certain aspect ratio?
I didn't care.
No, because I was wondering. I didn't know. I was thinking, why does? Yeah, but there was some artsy stuff going on. I don't want to say what happens, but there are certain actions that happen almost not away, like really far from the center of the screen, and you're going, wait, I can't. It's not because I'm watching this on my big iPad right now, but there's something going on the right corner, and it's a big moment, and I can't see it. So that's an artistic choice. Was that annoying to you a little bit?
There's a lot of things annoying to me about this movie.
Okay.
So the ending is absolutely anticlimactic and useless. The other thing about it is, okay, they create the whole backstory, which you get in a lot of these movies, where it's like, why do they want to kill? Like, what is their driving force? Is this undead killing creature? But the people he kills, except for one, are like just people that are randomly there. So that is just lost opportunity. They say stuff about the locket in that little description. That doesn't really play out much at all in this movie. To me, the final problem is, it's like my kids complain at me because I like to play walking games, they call them. You know, these games where you just walk around. You know what makes a walking game, if you like walking games, fun? You're doing the walking. Watching a walking game is not fun. So this movie was an absolute miss for me. I think it's going to be, from what I'm seeing, this is taking the spot from Late Night with the Devil, which I thought was okay, but highly overpraised in my opinion. Okay. This movie now is going to be the most overpraised movie of the year, for sure.
But then
in the horror scenes.
Bruce, in fairness, there's going to be, like Eric was saying, it's going to be split. There's going to be people in your camp as well. Do you see that happening as far as saying it's going to be overpraised, but there's going to be naysayers who agree with you on this?
I think so. There'll be some. I feel a lot of people are praising it though as like groundbreaking, changing the game. You know, slashers now will never be the same again, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just
cool.
Oh hell
Bruce,
no.
Can I cut that? Can I cut the hell no part? And can I just put that clip to promote?
Sure.
Brilliant. Eric Holmes and Bruce Purkey from CinemAddicts. They love inviolate nature. Coming to your screens right now. And while you're doing that, please listen to our CinemAddicts episode. Number one with a bullet. Eric Holmes and Bruce Purkey.
Highly disappointed. Did not like it.
Did not like it. Okay. Did like it. Cut out not. Okay, Eric Holmes. Do you agree with Bruce Purkey on his assessment of inviolate nature?
No.
Oh, what?
But no. But
I thought you would be completely on board with Bruce. I'm not joking.
I'm completely on the other side. But I get Bruce's complaints. And I believe Andrew Martin saw a preview screening, and he's got a bunch of similar.
Okay.
He's got it. So that's why I said this is going to be split. I'm on the side of I love this movie, but I think there's going to be people on Bruce and Andrew's side, probably in equal measure. I imagine. Like if this was like 50%, like right down the middle on Rotten Tomatoes, would not surprise me in the least.
Well, Eric, horror is a genre that you're very well versed in. You said you love it. What do you love about this movie? What makes it work?
There's a bunch of movies, and usually call them indie porn, where like nothing happens. And in this one, technically it's kind of the same thing. You're following around Jason Voorhees, and he's just walking a lot. So why do I like this one, but I don't like, say, there's another movie we'll probably talk about later, Handling the Undead. There's a scene where you watch someone walk out a door, and the camera just stays on the door as it slowly closes.
Right.
And then it's closing, and then it closes.
And
now we go to the next scene, and I'm like, what the? Okay.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
But this one, it just has Jason Voorhees walking, and he's walking, and he's walking, but I'm into it. And I was as I was watching this, I'm like, why do I like this, but I don't like the other thing? And I think what it is that when I'm watching Jason Voorhees walk, Well, first of all, when you first see him and he's coming out of the ground, it's like, what is this? Who is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're walking, and then they're walking towards a house, and you hear people talking. It's like, are they gonna comment on him? Oh, they don't see him. Oh, they miss him like just in time. Wait, what's going on? And so like
Yeah.
as this air quote nothing is going on, my mind's racing trying to piece things
Yeah.
together. Whereas with the other one, the only thing going through my mind is when is that door gonna freaking close already so we can get to the next scene
Okay.
and get
Yeah.
to what the point of this is. I don't know
Well,
what I'm supposed to feel. I don't know what the story's supposed to be. I'm not following along. I kind of don't care. With this one, it's pretty simple. Like it's all visceral for me. But once Jason Voorhees like kills the first victim, I'm like, oh, okay. And you start getting little bits of story as you go. And I'm interested enough that any little tiny bit that comes at me, I'm oh, give me more, give me more. Like
listeners,
the
yeah.
mystery of what it is. And then I think it was probably like 20 minutes in where I'm like, oh, okay, this is a Friday the 13th movie. That's not really a Friday the 13th movie, but totally is a Friday the 13th movie.
He's so disoriented now, folks.
Um,
Eric Holmes is disoriented. He keeps
but
calling him
then
Jason Voorhees. His real name is Johnny.
no,
He loves it so
it's
much.
Jason Voorhees. They wanted to make a Friday the 13th movie. They couldn't get the rights. They made this, and hey, I'm not complaining. In fact,
Okay.
I'm saying, and the rights for Friday the 13th are kind of all over the place. So this is really the
Okay.
only way you can get a Friday the 13th movie. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not like shame on you for doing this. I'm like,
Okay.
hey, brilliant for you for
You're
doing
not even
this.
going Johnny Voorhees. You're going with the full-on Jason, right? Not even
Jason
Johnny
Board.
Voorhees.
I got a board game back there called Last Friday.
Yeah.
Last Friday night. It's a hidden movement, and you're playing the Maniac. You're playing
Okay.
Jason
Fair.
Voorhees.
Good. Good argument.
The board game Friday the 13th. They just can't call it that. This is kind of the
See,
same
Bruce,
thing.
I can't break him because he's got that whole courtroom situation
Well,
going with the other rebuttals. So he's very good, Eric.
they did have the part in there where the music kept going, kill, 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 John, 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 kill, 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 John, John, John.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so and then it kind of does the Tarantino thing where like Tarantino when he has the violent scenes, they don't come one right after another. They're paced. So
Yeah.
when they do finally come, it's like, whoa, hey. So you've been following Jason Voorhees for a while, and then he kills some people. There's one kill in particular that was
Yes.
probably the one Bruce was alluding to.
That's really
God,
well done. I don't
it
even.
turned to my stomach, we'll say.
Yes.
There was
Yes.
another one with the boulder that was really good. But they're spread out enough. And so anyway, as you're following them, or as I'm watching this following them, I'm interested to see what he's doing
Hello,
next.
sorry.
So yeah, I'm just following him, wondering what he's gonna do next. There's some great there was one great camera shot. It's a static shot near a lake where you see the pier on the other end,
Mhm.
and he walks into the water, and then he goes underwater, and then still there. And like with the scene, not much is going on. But now this is a different part of my brain turning where I'm looking at the practicality of this going, so how long's that actor got to hold their breath for this take? Because he's been down there for a while. Like we're watching
Eric,
this
the
stuff.
longer you talk about inviolent nature, I see Bruce's soul like leaving his body. He's seriously disappointed in what once was love for Eric Holmes. There's slowly just
I'm just trying to explain why I love these shots that seemingly nothing happens, where I hate other ones. And
fair. That's
even
fair.
as I'm watching this, like it dawned on me, it was like I should hate this, and I don't,
You're making
understand
Bruce
why.
love this movie now. I think you might be.
But
Bruce might. I don't know, Bruce.
then there's the final girl aspect.
Yes.
I'm gonna mention this. If you think it should be cut, then cut it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna try to not do spoilers, but
Okay.
if I go too far, just cut
They
it.
go. Oh, okay. 100%.
So a lot of the characters in this are normally the characters that get killed are normally the main characters in a slasher. This flips that around. We're following the killer. We're not following the characters.
Right.
So any bit we get with the characters are just kind of like a surface level kind of mundane.
Throwaway. Yeah.
Yeah, throwaway. And then so, they're not really that interesting, but and slashers are not usually that interesting. They're just fodder to be killed. So this just takes away. Look, we don't have to deal with all that bull crap. We just kill them. Eventually they get to the final girl, and at least from my perspective, it was, oh, she's the final girl. cool. I don't care. Like it just kind of pulls the what do you
What
pulls the
threads?
curtain on the whole
Yeah, yeah.
idea of
Well,
like,
yeah.
oh, the final girl is the best character in the movie. It's like, no, the best killer in the movie, or the best character in the movie was the killer. Like the final girl was just the final person. They don't, they're not that great of a character. And how the final girl is presented in this, I think kind of shows a flaw in a lot of slasher movies that maybe haven't been that apparent. But anyway, that's
Mhm.
kind of how I read that whole thing. I do agree with Bruce that the ending was pretty underwhelming. I was kind of hoping for a bit more, but everything else, I'm on the complete other side of.
Okay, so Eric, I'm gonna do a couple things here now. It wasn't a spoiler what you just said. It was fine, and I also want to say to both you guys, I was immensely disappointed with the third act because I thought it was very dull and protracted with what happens, and the ending was underwhelming. That's my initial thought on it. And then I changed my opinion during this review because it was so unexpected compared to what happened in the rest of the movie that I was actually fine with the way it was executed because it's a different kind of rhythm what happens towards the end. There's a interesting conversation and you think it's going to go one way or another, and maybe if it doesn't meet your expectations, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I felt underwhelmed, but then I said, look, I can see there's a subtle way of dealing with it, and I really ended up now appreciating the third act. So I'm not an expert on this movie like Eric or Bruce or this genre, but I ended up really F you, Eric Holmes. I ended up really liking In a Violent Nature. I'm giving it 4 stars. I'm giving it 4 stars. How dare you write my rating while I'm speaking? That is so rude. Bruce Purkey, what
That was a
your rating?
prediction. I don't know if I'm right or not.
Yeah, you are right. 4 stars for me. Very good, Eric Holmes. Bruce Purkey, your rating.
It had a few good special effects sequences. I feel like the director's kind of trolling us with this movie, trolling the audience in general, but I guess I'll give it 2 stars, as predicted by Eric Holmes.
As predicted by Eric Holmes, very, very good. And Eric Holmes, again, your rating on In a Violent Nature?
I predicted that I would give this 4.5, and I think I'll stick with that. Although, like, ever since I seen it, like, I just kind of, I just love the mood it set. I love following the killer, and I love the look of it.
Wow.
The only thing I did not love, and I'm agreeing with both of you, like the ending just does not work for me.
Yeah.
If it would have really stuck the landing and got like this just awesome ending, this would have been like a 6.9 easy. As it is, go 4.5. But
The ending is
also,
understandable though. The ending is understandable
yeah,
in lieu
it
of
just
everything.
wasn't like
Yeah,
I
no, I got
was
you.
I was pretty much locked in the whole way, and then the ending happened. I'm like, okay. But oh, we didn't mention the song during the credits.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I was
but yeah, that song they played at the song they played during the credits was stuck in my head pretty much for the rest of the day, and now I can't even remember how it goes. Well, you would have
okay.
had to cut it if I sang it anyway, but
Okay, yeah, yeah. Good, good. Four and a
yeah,
half.
I think, but this could go up because I'm probably gonna watch it again tonight because
Oh, very good.
I had to watch other movies for the podcast. I really want to get back to this and watch it
Oh
again.
my gosh, Eric Holmes loved it so much. 4.5 stars for Eric, four
Yeah,
for me, and Bruce. A generous. I'm thinking 2 stars for
but
Yes,
Bruce
it could go
Perky.
down.
Oh, you can look.
I do.
Don't make it go down. He's don't say anything more, Eric. He's gonna make it go down.
I do want to reiterate for the
Yes.
Bruces and the Andrew Martins of the world that hate this movie. I get it. I do.
Oh,
I
okay.
just disagree is all.
Okay. That's all, nothing wrong.
Be
Different strokes
happy
for
for
different
me
folks.
that I love this piece of shit that you hated.
A piece of
Sorry.
what? A piece of oh no.
Family show.
No, family show. I know.
This is Cinematics.